already put the Jones on. She said she'll be here about 10 minutes.
Okay.
So I can give y'all a few of our rundowns. So I gotta get into my John because I was gonna jump on with him. You know what I mean? People always laugh and they be like, yo, you go from regular talking to like, yo, this is PSA, Philly Service Announcement, Takeover Tuesday, Takeover, Love, Support, Grace, Social Activism, Resources and Art. I am the assist, African support and strength, inspiration and success together. Shout out to the Queen Nick all the time, my co-host, the exec Mile. You know what I'm saying? I know they one of they good, black love pictures gonna pop up in a moment, but I want to get straight into us having this two pardon events coming up. One on March 6th at 5901 Market. That's Eddie's house. That's our office. That's one of the centers in West Philly. We're gonna be doing pardon information, information on expungements and commutations. Also looking like right now, I'm definitely probably be able to get some volunteers, so we might be able to do an expungement clinic type situation going on there, but definitely just showing everybody that Eddie's house is a pardon hub. We got, trained to basically just assist people on how to go through that process. On March 13th, we got Pardon Me. We're going to do that documentary over again. We did it at Eddie's House Cornerstone on 2321 North Broad Street. It was I can't even get out. It was a success because of the people who came out and showed up. But it wasn't done how I felt like it should have been done, especially considering that the Pardon Me documentary is being shown all over PA. I know he's starting to move outside of PA. As my brother Shu Jin Moore. The documentary is on the economic impact of a pardon, having a criminal background. One of the things that stood out to me that he says about the economic impact of having a criminal background or having a felony is if you take away that felony, a person is able to pay more taxes. So he would still be able he would be able to be a full citizen in that way, whereas like he's able to pay more, he's be able to pay back now that he's did his time, he did whatever he did, he got his pardon, he got his rights back, and now he's able to get more employment, be more gainfully employed, and be able to give back to whatever state he's living in. If it's PA, he's be able to give back through taxes. So just from that standpoint, if you want somebody to be able to be a full citizen, and you saying everybody need to give and pay and put in for everything to be, if that's what we going on, the motto of that, giving somebody the ability to be able to pay more into the system, I don't think that's a bad idea. You know what I mean? And that was just one of the things that he said as far as the economic impact, because when you have a felony, it is harder for you to get jobs. It is harder for you to get into live in certain areas. It is harder for you to get into certain schools. So that is ways that it takes away where you can't make the amount of money you would be able to make if you didn't have a felony.
So let me ask you a question.
Pull the mic up to you.
Thank you. Did you face those same barriers when coming home from incarceration, and how did you overcome them?
So that's a great question. And one of the things that helped me be able to like hit the ground running, so to speak, when I came home from doing 20 years was I was getting a lot of information that kept me up to speed. So I tell people a lot, I was talking to my nieces and my daughter, my nieces and my daughters. I was talking to my peers, and I also was talking to my mom and my aunt. So that was like 3 generations of people. So what that speaks to for me is like the earlier you could get into the prison and start getting guys ready to come home, right. You know what I'm saying? The easier it'll be for them to be able to step out here, and it'll be like one less barrier because you're a little bit more informed about how things even move like day to day, because that can be shocking for you coming home. Like you could read a lot of peripheral stuff like, who's hiring and where you might be able to live, but like the social stuff, you could be far behind. And how technology had changed, where I came home to people who had grew up with phones. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And when I went in, it was like phones was just only a select few had phones for real. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So my daughter and them kind of let me know that was the culture when they start saying stuff like cracking up. You know what I mean? When I first started hearing that was like, what? when you laugh, you laugh. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You don't tell me it's funny and that's how you laughing, you know? So that was ways that like they kind of kept me up socially. So when I came home, it wasn't shocking. You know what I mean? Almost like we were speaking two different languages. But once I came home, the thing that I didn't really face those barriers again because I got support from folks. Right. You know, when I came home, folks was like, all right, I'm in this position. This is what I can do for you. You feel me? On the reverse side of it, if you know, the street support might look like you come home, you get a gat, you get some work, and they give you a will, and it's like, but I got that support on the other side. You know what I mean? I got folks buying me suits and taking me to, you know, events where I can meet people. You know, people coming to me and telling me where these folks is hiring, and I'm plugged in. So come on over here and see what you can do. So it was like a lot of I learned even more than I already knew, like the importance of networking and having the right people around you, like on some real, like making sure you seeking out those folks who can benefit you in a positive way. You feel what I'm saying? And being around those people. So for me, that I didn't really face a lot of barriers that I know brothers and sisters face because I'm still walking that walk and I do have certain barriers, but I was blessed to be able to get support for people to be like, yo, I know something that's right up your alley. But I think that came from, again, getting myself together before I came home, because these people were having conversations with me. They was seeing what I was talking about, what I was reading, how, you know, they were seeing that it was a change going on. So when I came home, it was easier for them to support me because they didn't feel like, even though they still would be taking a chance, you know what I'm saying? But from me being able to talk to them and have those conversations, them seeing where I was at, again, the importance of getting in early and kind of seeing where brothers is at. You know what I mean? So I do know that those barriers really, really, really exist. I was just blessed, you know what I mean? In a way where I didn't have to face them because people kind of took me to certain things and let me do my thing. You know what I'm saying?
So to my knowledge, being in the field that I'm in, because we'll talk about that a little later.
Yeah, definitely. But pull the mic up though, so we can make sure we get this content.
But I definitely remember going inside the prisons, talking to individuals that've been there for, you know, some people had wills, some people had, you know, a lot of time, and young guys coming in and trying to show them a positive alternative. It was a program called Real Street Talk, and I was really privileged to go in there and talk to these individuals and really get like an understanding of what they was trying to do. And I think that kind of prepared individuals from coming home before they actually came home. So tell me, let's talk about that. Did you experience that?
No, I did, because I did time at Graterford. Real Street Talk was mainly at Graterford. Sometimes brothers get transferred to different prisons and take the model in other places, but it works in a very unique way with Graterford because it's so close to Philly. You know what I'm saying? And they can get more access, again, being able to talk to people, having that ability to be able to say, we know what's going on out here. And another real source of information was that revolving door, unfortunately. So many dudes coming in, and Graterford is one of those places where they come in first because they got to get processed and all that. So Real Street Talk is something, my brother Barry, he actually participated in that. I didn't really participate. I did mainly, they had the college course joint up there, Inside Out. But I knew a lot of the brothers, like my brother that do, I can't even think right now. That's crazy. Nomo. He was a part of Real Street Talk. Ricky Duncan. Exactly. And no, not Ricky. Damn, I'm just drawing a blank today. Like, this is crazy.
And it's crazy.
I can't think of my brother named Tall Dark Skin Brother. He done been on the show, man, a couple times and everything. I be seeing the brother and they doing some really good work. But he was a part of Real Street Talk. It's a brother that worked for the DA office now. With a restorative justice. Ghani. He was a part of that at down Graterford.
Who was that?
His name is Ghani. I don't know his, that's the name that's his African name.
Got you.
So he might be whatever the government is, but I don't know. They call him Ghani down there because I done ran into him down there a couple times. But I was exposed to it, and they really did have like what we doing out here as far as nonprofits having programming and all that. Like, that's where I seen that at with them brothers. You know what I'm saying? And that was one of the and they didn't have that in a lot of places. You feel what I'm saying? They wouldn't allow you to have it in a lot of other prisons. So a lot of brothers came through, and they had, what was dope about it is again, they would be able to get a lot of that information as times is changing because they were able to deal with the young brothers that was coming in right when they come in. Like that was a part of your orientation. You know what I mean? That would be one of the things because when you first would come in, your movement is limited. You know what I mean? Because you're still getting processed. Right. But that would be like mandatory programming for them. Right. That would be one of the things where they would be able to get off the block and go to real street talk. And it really worked. It worked. You know what I'm saying? Because and it's funny that you say that it worked from the standpoint of brothers going through there and being able to touch and hear these brothers like you in the middle of this getting a real story. Again, and it's the beginning.
I came from off the streets, from working, right, with my executive director and a few other people from the city to go inside. This was after grade, if it was Phoenix now, right, to have the conversation and really see how the program works and see how they engage with different individuals. I thought it was a positive.
It is. It really is
something that should be implemented or mirrored in other places, state.
And it's funny because a lot of brothers with lived experience that spent time at grade, they bringing pieces of that. Like you see, I'm seeing a lot of these brothers being a part of different organizations, different city programs, and you could see the stuff that they learned from being around those brothers up there. That's why I said like they showed me like nonprofit from a distance though. You know what I mean? Just watching and seeing these brothers interact and run their program and then get the jail, which is hard to do a lot of times if it's something positive. As much as that may seem like that's what the jail would want you to do, they don't want you organizing in that way.
I understand.
You know what I'm saying? So for you to be able to have that fine line and still be able to get like that stuff you got to do in corporate right now. How to maintain your integrity, your dignity, but at the same time you gotta. Yo, man, we gotta find a way for if this going on right here, we need our piece too. I need this to work a certain type of way too. It's always negotiation, not even a fine line or a balancing act. You got to know how to negotiate. You got to know how to be diplomatic. You know what I'm saying?
And you showed me that during the interview that you and I had some years ago.
No, definitely. Yo, I was just talking about that when Eddie's house first got the contract, being a part of that, like being a part of, being one of the faces on the proposal, talking to y'all, bringing my expertise. Cause that's a funny thing that I take. I know what my worth is. I'll say that. You know what I'm saying? So
listen, at this point I call you expert.
Right. So my expertise that was different from what Miss Marion, and she has a wide range of expertise, and the same thing with Todd, but to bring that lived experience and be able to articulate it and tell you like, no, I understand with the job at hand and I understand why I'm important to it. You feel what I'm saying? That being indigenous and being a credible messenger in a way, like you understand the folks that you about to be dealing with.
Right.
And everybody don't got that.
And my expertise, right, I think is recognizing that in an individual.
Nah, definitely.
You know what I'm saying? I think when I first seen you and having a conversation with you and knowing the history and the 20 years that you did and what you was doing in jail and what you doing, you got out of jail. That meant a lot,
Right,
so
no doubt.
I think I'm an expert at recognizing.
I appreciate that, man. and that's the thing, like I tell people about that was so dope for me is going to the interview and you saying to me, like, when the interview was over and it was real clear and you was like, listen, man, I talked to some folks up top. Right. You know what I'm saying? And what you saying to us basically is what you are, because folks is saying like, nah, boy, good dude, it ain't got no smut on his jaw. If y'all doing something like that,
I'm going
you need to talk to him.
I'm definitely going to do a reference check because I take it serious. Right. And if I'm putting my name on it and I'm stamping it and I'm asking you to go out in the community and help individuals in the community, and you really playing games,
no, definitely.
Then I couldn't do it. I had to do a reference check.
I feel you, and I respect it. I respect it because I tell people like I'm intentional about how I am as a man. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. I learned that in there in spite of, you know what I'm saying? The jail didn't make me do that. I somehow, some way, people, poured into me enough to say, listen, man, you need to do something because you got a lot of potential. Exactly. You need to do these conversations I had with myself because of how people treated me and loved on me. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, hold up, how you get here though? You know what I'm saying? And then that, like, I tell people all the time that identity piece and that critical thinking piece, it was like, hold up, bro, you got to come out way better than you came in. Right. You know what I'm saying? You got to do that.
And at the end of the day, right, with the position that you're holding still, we were both right.
Yeah. I appreciate that. We it's okay to say that.
Yeah. We were both right.
It's okay to say that, but it's like, I don't think people be understanding all the time, like, how like stuff, how surreal stuff could be for me, only from the standpoint of you fight to not be institutionalized to believe that's your world and know like it's going to be something better for you, bro. Just keep doing the work, you know what I'm saying? Being critical of yourself, being aware of your environment and making the correct moves. Be more of a thinker, you know what I'm saying? So now when you get home, all of that, because I've had dudes tell me, you can't eat books, you can't eat these books. And I'm like, bro, I'm trying to tell you, this is where it's at.
It's gonna be beneficial.
This is gonna be beneficial. This is gonna feed me, bro. I'm telling you. So now to come home and be able to express that work that I put into myself, and you be like, man, I checked on it, and it was what you said it was. You know what I'm saying? For me, it's like, damn, I'm sitting in the city office.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Just did all this time in prison. You know what I mean? And it's like when I came home and I was like fresh home, and my brother got me hooked up with Pulse. And I was able to go to a board meeting. I got on a Dickie suit, a blue Dickie suit, but I'm sitting next to Renee Chenault, Judge Sims. There's a couple, you know, folks that own like 4 and 5 businesses and stuff like that, and they making these decisions, and I'm sitting at the table with them. And I'm like, damn, that's crazy.
Hey,
like,
if I'm correct, right? If memory serves me right, you had a Dickie suit on our interview as well.
Yeah.
I remember that. And like I said, listen, this broad, this is what it is.
Yeah, man, this how I'm moving.
This what I'm moving.
Yeah, like, because once you get to see me, it's like the Dickie suit is like, all right, we ain't.
Right.
You know, it's just what he wearing.
Right.
He got something else going on with him. And it's funny that you said that, because I thought about that. That's probably what I'm gonna wear to the March the March 3rd. Because I was trying to think what I'm gonna wear. I was like, to the March 13th parting joint at the Free Library.
Okay.
I'm gonna probably wear the same thing, because it's like, it's not representing that, because that's just what we wear in the city. It's comfortable, it's durable. You can wear it kind of in a lot of different places, but it's like, for me, is I'm me, you know what I'm saying? And I bring a lot to the table, and this Dickie suit don't really, that's not something you should be paying attention to. And it's kind of like that parting joint was like looking to the people, like looking to the person. Don't get caught in that. I know first impressions are important. I won't never say that, but I feel like my first impression is more how I present when I step to you as a man. If I'm looking you in the eye, if my shoulders was up, I'm walking with a certain level of confidence, but not cockiness. You can see that in a person. You feel me? And I think that be the real first impressions versus necessarily what I got on.
So me personally, right? I look at the whole picture, right? And I'm looking at how you come in. Are you taking it serious? If you came over to Dickie Suit, I was like, not really taking it serious until you spoke. Until you talked, and we had an intimate conversation, especially after the interview. You and I had an intimate conversation, and I got to see who you were, right, and with the reference check as well. You know, what I'm saying?
Definitely.
And I felt the like right move for me.
Definitely, man.
For our organization, for our movement, I think that was the right move.
Man, definitely, and I appreciate being seen. I always say that, and that's something that black men suffer from. You know what I mean? Not being seen. A society that make you think that you don't exist. Right. You feel me? And the only way that you can make yourself be seen is to like break shit, to be loud, to, you know what I'm saying? Like, just be in like, you know, the train wreck way. You want the attention however you can get it, because they making us think that we not. But my thing is, that shit is an illusion. Hey, that's not really real. At one time, they did a lot of work to get it to that. But it's not real now, bro. Listen, it's in our heads.
I had the opportunity last Friday, my executive director and I, Shondell Ravel, right? We had the opportunity to go to middle school, Mifflin. And I asked those same questions, you know, what flares you up, what gets you upset, and, you know, situations like that. And what do you do to cope? You know, young guy was like, me and my brother argue, we fight. So I said, small exercise. Right. Small exercise. And it's something that all of us can implement. I want you to get a piece of paper, right? And I want you to write down 5 things that make you happy, whether it's your family, whether listen to music, whether it's working out, whatever it is, the 5 things that you have, right? And once we had that 5 things and was able to discuss it and really break down, instead of me getting mad and punching on something or really wrecking out, then I can use this. So keep it in my pocket, I'm keeping it in my locker room. And I do this to myself to this day. It's an exercise that I use to the day, right? If I'm upset, I'm at work, things ain't going my way, whatever the situation may be, I got the opportunity to sit down and reflect. And I think we have to promote more of that, more of taking time out for yourself, not just moving and not just acting. But this is a learned trait, though. You know what I'm saying? So it's something we got to start doing this in the schools with the kids, right? In jail, write down 5 things, put it on your wall, put it in your cell, and just think about before me moving out, before I'm coming out, and I'm picking the knives up, going out. let's do this first. Let's do this first.
And that's the critical thinking thing, man.
Right.
That's being a critical thinker. That's using reason and logic. And like you said with the schools, like I talk about this a lot because a lot of times we don't know how to think. Because like you said, critical thought is common sense. People say it's not common to everybody because
it's not always common.
It's a skill set.
It is.
It's something that's taught. You just gave me a training on refocus your brain.
Right.
That you gotta think. That's critical thought. Because otherwise, bang out is instant. That's instinct.
Because it's comfortable.
Right.
It's what we
it's
know.
Easy. It's easy.
It's that same thing for a person coming home from incarceration, right?
Mm-hmm.
It might be easier to come home and do the things that you did beforehand because you're comfortable and you're used to doing it, opposed to change. Not everybody loves change.
Nah, not at all.
Not everybody loves change.
But you can't stop it. That's the other thing.
You
put yourself through a lot. It's just a funny way how the universe works, bro. Like change is constant, so it's not something you can really fight. Just inform yourself on it and move with it. Because it's not a bad thing. It's never, because again, change is constant.
Right.
That means growth.
Right.
You know what I mean? When we stop changing, that means growth has stopped.
But sometimes as individuals that's been in certain situations, we stunt our own growth.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy to do that.
Mm-hmm.
When you're coming outside and you open the door and it's trash day was Tuesday, it's Thursday, and you still got the same trash and more trash in front of the door. So it's we want to make change, but sometimes within ourselves, we stop ourselves from making the change.
Nah, definitely.
Right? But again, it's something that has to be learned, something that has to be taught. So we need individuals like yourself to teach. Right?
Nah, definitely. I'm on that time.
People who want to be taught.
I did.
I'm ready to get started though.
Yeah.
So I was waiting for my folks to come.
And the joint, and we done ran it up already. You know what I mean? But nah. So what I always like to do, I always want my guests to introduce themselves. I'm big on identity, so give me a little bit about you. You know what I'm saying? Tell me all the professional stuff, the good accolades and all that, but give me something a little bit about you, identity wise. You know?
Right. So my name is Keith Scott. I'm actually the director of programs and community outreach for the Office of Violence Prevention.
Mm-hmm.
I've been down with the Office of Violence Prevention since 2018. Prior to that, I worked for the Philadelphia Anti-Drug, Anti-Violence Network, doing advocacy work, working with individuals that we just spoke about. People coming home from incarceration, not really having a positive alternative. They don't know what was out there. They need help. They need push. They need mentorship. Like I did with myself, growing up, grew up in North Philadelphia. Only child. You know the story though. you know the story. Dad not there, mom not there. The corner raised me. That's the story. At the end of the day. Right. You see, how you doing? That's the excuse me.
I don't know if the headphones are lady friendly. I get sometimes people like, nah, I'm cool. Other times they rock out with them. But if you just pull the mic up to you a little bit, you might not even have to wear them. You can hear what we saying. But
I mean, I have a 42 in today. So.
So you might be able to make it happen.
Yes.
It'll give you that real, like I'm on air. Gonna give you that real on air, feel. There you go. Pull it up so we can get the content. So
what we did, we came in and started the conversation. The conversation went well, but we never had a formal introduction. So right now we're doing a formal introduction. Again, I told you who I am, who I work for previously. But a little about myself. Again, I grew up North Philadelphia, single parent household. Streets raised me. I think I missed the curb altogether. I went from the step straight to the street. End up getting incarcerated when I was young. Even before that, man, there was so many things in my life that was kind of framed my life to go the wrong way. Like at the age of, I think 16 going on 17, me being in the streets doing things I had no business doing. My mom got kidnapped when I was a kid, when I was 16. Right after that, me acting out. I ended up going to Youth Study Center for some time. Then from there, Youth Study Center, CBS, all the placements and all that. I think I never had the mindset or the want to really come out here and help a person, to help individuals. This was never my trajectory. This never was in the picture. Right. This advocacy work, it never was in the picture for me. But coming home, and I didn't have the push that you had. I didn't have real street talk or people coming inside of Youth Study Center really talking to us about what we could do once we get out. We didn't have that. This was in the 80s. I ain't gonna say how old I am, but I'm a fossil. Right. But this was in the 80s. But we didn't have that. But I did have though with some individuals when I came home who were doing the right thing to kind of push me in the right direction. So real quick story. how I kind of started to work. It's a guy named Charles Walker who works for the Philadelphia Anti-Drug Anti-Violence Network. Good guy, man.
Nah, definitely a good guy. I just was talking
Right.
to him like 2 days ago.
And I've known Charles since I was a kid. So it was some kind of dispute in my area, in my neighborhood. And again, I'm home from jail now, so I had this dispute. So he gave me a call and asked me, could I talk to? Do I know the individuals? Which I did. Can I talk to him? So I was able to talk to him. We was able to squash it. Everything was quiet. It was good. So I guess he went back into whomever was in charge at that time at the Philadelphia Anti-Drug Anti-Violence Network. And a few weeks later, I got a call to come up there. So I went there, and the work that I had did unconsciously. I didn't have a clue what I was doing. I was just, Charles asked for a favor and I was able to do the favor, so I did it. So they offered me a job. Actually offered me a job, and I wasn't interested in work, and I wasn't interested in squashing no beefs or helping nobody get their lights back. That wasn't my interest at the time. But I was able to go. I took the job. At that point, I think I had just had a daughter. I didn't have any insurance. Just I'm in the streets.
Yes,
I'm in the streets. So they gave me an opportunity, and at first I didn't, but I ended up appreciating and loving the job that I was doing. As people coming home, it was so satisfying for me to work with a family. And the mom, I'm talking about working with an individual that's coming home, a young guy or young girl that's coming home from jail, and their mother, their parents, their grandparents calling me, thanking me for trying to help their, move the people forward and help their parents. So that was really rewarding for me. There, I met Shondell Ravel, which was another mentor of mine, and he always said something to me, and I didn't understand at first. He always said that I see something in you that you don't see in yourself. Right. So then I didn't really understand what he was saying. Right. But I think I finally got it.
Nah, definitely. I think you do. I can tell.
I think inkling of it. So again, I moved fast in it because I love helping people at that point, and I love the work. I went from being an advocate to being a supervisor to supervising 2 different districts, and then from that point on, it's like I think I was like, shit. I got an offer to come downtown to an interview. Had the interview, got the job. I was a program specialist. I moved fast from there. Somebody recognized my talents down there and then making me director, so community outreach and engagement. So that's my story. That's how I got here. It was a fast track. It wasn't something that was planned. I didn't go to school to do it. And this ended up
I know that story, you know what I'm saying? But because we was waiting on you, Queen, so we gonna let you, give us, who are you? I need to know who you are, because I know you've listened to me talk before and talk about identity, and as a part of knowing, like, if you got businesses, what's all the professional accolades, but just a little something about you, because a lot of times when I ask my people, who are you? It's like blank faces, and I kind of gotta tell them this, that, you know what I mean? So it's like that. I think that's really one of our issues, that we don't know who we are. So I always ask that question, and I don't want to mess nobody's name up, and nobody trying to fight me in the street. So handle your business.
All right, I got you. Hey everyone. So my name is Jarue Jamaal. I'm the program specialist here with the Office of Violence Prevention. So who am I? That's a hard question to answer because it's so many parts of me.
Well, let them know. Let them know some of them.
There's so many parts of me. I'm an advocate. I'm a sister. I'm a friend. I'm a college student. Like I'm a city employee. I'm a businesswoman. I'm a person with lived experience. There's so many parts of me. So I know, Keith was over here telling his story, and he kind of inspired me and motivated me. In terms of like when it comes to the advocate part of me, I think the biggest part when it comes to advocacy is my own experience, my life experience. So I was raised by my grandma. My mom and dad was on drugs. So I was raised by my grandma at a very young age, 4 months. Just growing up with my grandma, it was a blessing, but also with that age difference, it was a lot because I grew up angry. Also was incarcerated, been on probation twice, been kicked out of 4 high schools. Got kicked out of 4 high schools, been on probation twice, just really out here trying to figure out who I am. Honestly, as a Black woman, a Black young girl in Philadelphia, who am I? I had the world telling me who I was, with a name, Shadiqua. Once again, my name is Shadiqua. People was like, okay, you're ghetto, uniqua, everything, but you can be a positive influence. So I kind of took what society told me, who society told me who I was at a very young age. So I had good role models, thankfully, who told me like, no, you're better than that. I had my aunt, I had teachers, I had mentors who guide me through the process of me figuring out who I am.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't until maybe I was 17 or 18 where I was like, you know what, I need better for myself. I need to do better for myself. So I went to different programs. I went to the YEP program. That's where I met Dion, and he gave me mentorship. So you know Dion from like
Mm-hmm.
GBI. So I met him. He was an intern. He spoke life over me. Mr. Allen, who was in the YEP program. After that, I went into Europe. With Europe, I went into my professional development. I went into college, and then I started looking for. Then I started to find my passion. Like I do like to give back. I like to live. I like to use my live experience to really motivate others.
Right.
And let them know, like, hey, even though you're going through things, you can still get over it. You can still come through it. So yeah, that's who I am. I'm just an advocate. I'm just someone who really want to help people succeed, help people go from surviving to thriving.
So you see, we had a little rough road getting here.
Yeah.
It wasn't just go to school and get the job.
Yeah.
Nah,
It
that's
wasn't
the
that
reason why
fast.
you understand the importance of when you said, nah, it is an expertise, like lived experience. And for me, it's like a lot of people have lived experience, but you get folks around you, you have that energy in yourself where it's like, I need to be able to understand this a little better. I need to be able to explain this because I think that be the difference. Like folks be knowing they going through things, but they don't really know how to articulate it. They don't really
Yeah.
know. And we are, because of support,
Mhm.
Facts.
because that's something that's a common thread with me and with both of y'all from y'all telling y'all story that,
Right.
well, like you said, when you came home, it was a couple people that were able to support you in different ways. They were
Right.
doing the right thing. Even if they didn't give you no money or nothing, when they came around you, bro, this is what I'm doing. This
They
how I got it moving.
They
You
gave me
know,
opportunity.
right. So you know what I mean? Somebody is always a thing of development is support. Like we have to be able to support, especially when you're dealing with trauma.
Yeah.
Because we're dealing with layers of trauma. Like I'm in a intro to trauma class, and it's like sitting there listening to the John. It's like you just telling me all of this stuff over again. I'm gonna put it on paper and all that, but it's like, yo, it's layered. When you talk about Philadelphia and just being impoverished,
Mm-hmm.
that's trauma.
Facts.
And you wonder why the city move how it move, like why people, especially black folk, how we move with that tension, because you're talking about object poverty for years, disinvestment, you know what I'm saying? So it's like being able to be somebody to say, yo, I know these things is going on. We're going to be real about these things going on, but it is a way for us to come up out of it. You know what I'm saying? By, you know, and that's what I hear from y'all. And that's the story that I always tell. Like, yeah, it really is going on. And it really is everything they say it is.
The great part about working for the Office of Violence Prevention is that the individuals who actually, our executive director, he understands it. He comes from the same place we come from, New York. He has the same ideas that we have, right?
Right.
Came from the same place that we came. So he has put some resources in play for those same things.
Exactly.
For people that come outside and see the blight and the lights out and all that, we have something for that, right? But somebody, for a critical message, for a person who needs to speak to a person or individual that they look to for whatever,
Right.
we have that with the CCIP program. So what we did today was we put like a little blurbs together for you, right? I'm glad Sadiq was here so we can talk about what resources we have here at the Office of Violence Prevention.
Okay.
And a little blurb about each one of them.
No, handle
and
your
how
business.
and how.
I like people that come on and
No,
they, you know what I'm
we-
saying?
no,
They
we
got it
strapped.
put together,
No.
you know what I'm saying?
Nah, we strapped, man.
Yo, this brother right here, I definitely need him to get on the mic real quick, man, because I didn't expect this, and this shit is really dope to run into this bro. And I would want him to tell y'all who he is and what our connection is. But for me, this is people come from out of town to check me out, man. You know what I'm saying? So can we get a mic for him real quick, please? Like, damn, bro, that's crazy. Like, you got to tell me how this came about. Like, you got to tell me this.
I ain't gonna lie to you. I got an email about 2-3 months ago and was like, man, can you come do the podcast?
Oh, all right.
We
My
got some
folks
stuff
doing that
going
thing.
on. We got some stuff going on, and come talk about the work we just been doing in Delaware, period. So I
Right.
was like, yeah. And the time didn't line up.
Right.
The time didn't line up. So when I doubled back, then it was like, all right, we can figure the time sequence out. I really didn't know you was gonna be here.
Right.
Like I did not know you was gonna be here. Thank you.
Nah, and it's so crazy, you know, how the universe, you know, these are basically like he's not the boss, but he's like over top of the boss now. He like the boss now. And this is one of the folks, I would say she like the boss too, because they all work for the Office of Violence Prevention. I'm kind of joking around.
Okay.
But they work for the Office of Violence Prevention, and that's what basically funds our CCIP program with Eddie's House. You know, being credible messengers and moving around, just servicing the community because of that lived experience we have, that knowledge we have. And you are definitely one of those dudes doing the same type of stuff, if not bigger, from a personal level. When I seen how all y'all brothers got organizations now, but y'all were doing that credible messenger type work and still do it. But please tell them like what our connect is and like how we met.
So we did a program in Delaware. So got the hammer on me. So it was in 4 states: Delaware, Philadelphia, Chicago, and New York. And what we did was we interviewed juveniles between the ages of 14 to 24 that were affected by gun violence, right? So they would come in, they would tell their stories. And the number one thing what we were trying to collect data on was that these young men are not committing crimes because they want to be committing crimes. Nobody wakes up in the morning and say, hey, I'm going to go use this gun today, right? You have to be a sick individual to even believe that, right? So we really started getting into the psychology of this whole thing of why these young men are committing active violence, right? And what we learned was it was so many different mitigating factors into that. And that was our connecting. He was working in the Philadelphia project. I was with the team. Our project started before them, Philly. So we were in Delaware where we kicked it off inside of the city of Wilmington, right? Where if you look at how small the city of Wilmington is and the amount of violence that Wilmington produces, you're like, it can't be that much violence inside this small little cubicle, but it is, right? But it's so many factors to go into it, like in all urban cities or all cities that are just filled with poverty. So that's our connection. And when we met through Brother Jonathan, right? I came up to Philly to, like, when they were going through their orientation process, to kind of tell them like what some of our experiences was and what we were doing and some of the conflicts we were running into between navigating through the city, because it takes a different type of individual to be able to do what we do, because these kids don't want to talk to anybody because they feel like a lot of people are unrelatable. Like, what are you going to talk? Now, me personally, like Joe, we are brothers that did a lot of time in prison, right? I spent basically my entire life there, right? And they're like, oh, hold up, OG, you did what? And I'm like, yo, look, I was 16 before, and I never seen 17, right? Next time I seen the streets again, I was 37. They took all of that away from me for, for an act of violence, right? And it happens, like, but they mean that. They mean that, and that's what, my number one thing is when I talk to any of these youths, right, that may be on a wayward path, is like, little bro, like, they mean that, right? It's, I know it's you putting in work, and all of that, and these, I hear you, but trust me, right? To do a little 3 years is something. You do 5, that's different. 10, you start be like, oh snap. You start doing 15, oh, that's a 20, oh, but they mean it. They mean it, and they will sit you down to do it. So that's our connection.
And what they introduced me to actually was one of those qualifications when I did the interview with Eddie's House. I was doing PAR research at the time, participatory action research. You know what I mean? They had already been doing it in Delaware for 10 years. So they got it's like a stranglehold on the city as far as it comes to black men. I went over there, me and Carlita went over there and seen one of the centers that they had, and it was like, it's all black men running it. You feel what I'm saying? Right, it's young men and women comfortably in the center, but it's all black men in there. He was one of those men, and they took that research and that data and turned it into some power where they can affect change. And it's like, you can't tell us, not only do we got the experience, but we got the data to show y'all that what we saying is the truth. Right. So when they shout out to the Fathership Foundation, to Dr. Wilson, because he the one put me down with PAR. Like, when he met me out in the community doing the work, he was like, yo, man, you will be perfect for this. You will be a research associate. You'll be able to, we'll show you how to do the surveys. We'll give y'all like a crash course on qualitative and quantitative data. 2 dope amazing professors alongside Dr. Wilson with his PhD is Brooklyn Hutchins. Is it Hitchens or Hutchins? She gonna kill me, bro.
It's Hutchins.
It's Hutchins. Brooklyn Hutchins. She is
Hopefully she don't cuss us off
she
before we
is a
got it wrong.
professor at the University of Maryland, and then the other professor is Dr. Yasser Arafat Payne. He's a tenure professor at the University of Delaware. So like being able to sit with these black folk and they telling me like, yo, the data is the most important thing. And then for me to see the city always utilizing data, but I'm hearing it more now where everybody is basically turning you to a research associate. No matter what you doing, you collecting the data and it was like I was kind of ahead of it already. I was telling Miss Marion and them at Eddie's house like, yo, CCIP, yeah, when we start talking about being community sustaining, that's the data. Because the response is the response. We can get data after, like how many people are we responding to, what those numbers looking like, how many people are we affecting. But now doing the community sustaining part is like we're trying to collect that data to see how we can service y'all better. And I'm starting to see different organizations more talk about data. You know what I mean? And again, they was on the forefront of this as far as having folks from our community be able to be a part of that. Be honest. You can be an honest broker in this because it's not somebody coming getting data from you, siphoning it off, using it for whatever they want. Now we have data that we could take to them.
Thanks.
We could be preventative. We could be forward thinking. We could be proactive because we know how to collect data now too. We know how to put surveys together. You know what I mean? Like it just was a really dope experience, and it's something else that opened me up to a lot of things. So I definitely appreciate them brothers for being groundbreaking in Delaware, and it's something that in the nonprofit sector here, I don't hear a lot about it, but it's a model that a lot of people starting to like the credible messenger model of you going back to the house of Umoja. Right. You know what I'm saying? And then you dealing with Pan and like, oh, we was the one that put that model out there.
No, you
know what I mean? It's a national thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, even before that, in the 70s, at the Philadelphia Anti-Drug Anti-Violence Network, in the 70s, when they had credible messages, when they had men like who started Pan, right, that were gang leaders, and all through the city,
right?
And they got together, and homicides went from, in 1 year, from 400 gang-related homicides to 1, with the credible messenger model. So it's not new,
right?
It's not new, but it's like kind of reinvented the wheel, but not really. Right. You just got to find the right individuals to make sure.
Man.
We,
that balancing, that transition is not like seeing it in real time now. That transition from being somebody in these streets, having that credibility in these streets, being and trying to make it into this professional, you know what I'm saying? Like that joint ain't easy, bro. So that's another reason why when I come to Delaware and I seen y'all brothers, like, yo, that's not easy to do. All men running centers, like all men being the caretakers, bro. You know what I mean? And these is real men, but they the caretakers as well. That's even though we say we want that from our brothers, it's not always received correctly. Right. Not saying that it not being received is even not coming from some past history, but like seeing it and like being able to like, all right, we gonna see what this is going on because this is something different for what we got going on right now, and we need it. Right. So them brothers really, really inspired me. I definitely was telling Carlita after I left, like, man, like they doing it with just men. You feel what I'm saying? And it's working, and they've been doing it for a long time, and these brothers been growing for a long time. So I take a lot of inspiration from being there to be around them in the few times that we've been around. But the fact to know, like, they was doing it for 10 years, and it looked like it. You know what I mean? Right. And they got alumni. I'm big on that. Like, who's still coming around you? Right. Who want to come back to you? You know what I'm saying? That's a real thing. So, yo, I definitely appreciate you popping up, bro. This is dope for me. But I'm gonna let the queen get to this because this is work related. If this don't get out properly, I might not have a job. Yeah,
we have to get this. You got to get this. People need these resources.
No, definitely. Please do.
Yeah, so I'm just wanting to run down like what our office provides. So our office
I'm
provides.
Move this up just a little bit.
Okay, and I'm gonna take these earphones off, y'all. So okay.
Okay,
this is comfortable. So when it comes to the office, we provide so many different resources. So we already talked about CCIP, but just to give people, the viewers, some more information, CCIP is the boots on the ground. Right. So they are the people who are in front of the violence before it happens. They are the people who's in the neighborhood providing the resources, mediating conflict, seeing who's beefing with who, and seeing like, all right, how can we get in front of the violence before it happens? We don't want people being shot and killed out here. So CCIP is the people in front of it. Then we have our GVI, which is our Group Violence Intervention. Also, CCIP is Community Crisis Intervention Program, for those who do not know. And then we have GVI, which is Group Violence Intervention. So they are the people who vet members who are a part of the gang or group affiliated. So they usually go out on Saturdays. They have a holistic team. They have, law enforcement. They have a mother who lost a child to gun violence. They have case managers. And basically their message is, hey, we know what you're doing. You can either, jump on board and get these social services, or you can end up, dead or in jail, unfortunately. So usually the law enforcement tell them like, hey, this is how many years, law enforcement DA tell them this is how many years you have. And the mother who lost their child to gun violence usually tell their story, how them losing their child affect them. And then you have tactical response. So tactical response, we have a meeting every Thursday with different city agencies, departments, along with city-funded organizations. And we all come together to discuss different neighborhood problems and how can we fix it to decrease violence. So an example may look like maybe somebody on the block say, we just need more lighting because we recognize with the block being dark, it's more violence. All right, cool. Who can we talk to? We may have to talk to CLIP, which is a city agency, to see how we can get city lighting on that block.
Right.
We have 211. 211 is our hotline. Please, if you guys do not get anything else, get our 211 hotline. So 211 people can call and they get violence prevention resources. So anything from childcare, food, clothes, the whole 9 yards. If you don't speak English, no problems. We can translate over 50 language. So you can definitely call our 211 hotline for different violence prevention resources. And then last but not least, this is where people really contact our office for, which is TSIG, which is our Target Investment Community Grant. And TSIG offer up to $1,500 to $50,000 to either grassroots leaders or organizations that's doing violence prevention work. So they give them funds and give them grants for them to continue to do these violence prevention programs and resources. So it's just not like our office, but we like to say, it takes a village to raise a child, right? So it's our office, it's CCIP, it's GVI, it's our people who got the TSIG grant. It's all of us who's doing the work that really decrease the violence in Philadelphia.
So I got two questions. One question is, when you say for the grant, when I can't, it's the targeted community grant. Yeah. Right. So when you say organizations or community leaders, community leader as in, so I'm a community leader. I have a business, but I run programming. I'm not a 501c.
It doesn't really have to be just a community leader. It could be anybody in the community. Somebody with a great idea. My man just coming home from incarceration. He did, from the 16 to 37, and he seen whatever he's seen, and he came home. He said, "I have a great idea, right? But I need some help formalizing the idea." He could come to our office. We have somebody sit down with him, paperwork, formalize everything. You don't need a 501c or anything like that. You need a good idea and a great heart, and then we gonna try to back your plan.
No, I like, that's one of the reasons why I asked that. Now, about GVI, I hear a lot of GVI I hear a lot of pushback on GVI.
I'm gonna tell you. I think the reason why,
give me some clarity on that.
I think the reason why, because the law enforcement piece. Anytime if you showed up at my house Saturday morning with the police and my probation officer, of course I'm not gonna really be feeling. I'm not gonna really feel a movie at all. Right. But when you look at the social service aspect of it, it really and I can't really talk too much about it because the executive director, he isn't here, right? Right. But they're doing a phenomenal job. From my understanding, I think everyone who asks for help within 72 hours, man, they employment is they have employment. They also have therapists for individuals who want to talk to somebody. So there's so much they can do with the social services aspect that that people aren't talking about. They're kind of like focusing on the police part. The police came here, and that's sometimes for people's safety, right? Right. But I think that's more of where the negative content is coming from, just the police aspect. Right. Not really talking about the social services piece, which is very, very important. I think that's the most important part.
And I seen where the ask is to get that data. Like, we're leaning more on a social service because like the pushback is definitely like GVI come around, everybody getting indicted.
Do y'all
You feel what I'm
do
saying?
group call-ins as well with the GVI program?
What do you mean?
So in Delaware with the GVI, they do the group call-in.
Oh yeah, for sure. We do that. We do that in city. We do different parts of the city. South Philadelphia, maybe for example, then we'll have everybody who's on that group list. They come down to City Hall. Again, you'll have the same individuals. You'll have law enforcement. You'll have the mother, that the credible messengers. You have the case managers. You have the police department, the probation officer, and everything. And you'll have everybody in one room having the conversation, letting people know that this is what we're offering. You can take it or not take it. But this is in reality, this is the other side to it. So giving the person an opportunity to take, whatever the route they take, they choose to take. But it's more beneficial to take the social service route.
It's intimidating.
Yeah, and it's a funny thing because when you be like you offering them that,
but you got to think at the end of the day, the individuals we talking to are, to be totally honest, right? They're not Boy Scouts. You kind of be a little, have a little intimidation.
I want the one. I want the one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want the one because of the questions that I've been getting from, people just in the community, and I didn't want to formulate an opinion about something that I was unaware of.
Right.
So I was invited to one, and I accepted the invitation, so that way I could go get a read on what was going on.
Right.
My only con was it for me that I didn't like. It was like, it wasn't guys that were going voluntarily. It was like you forced them there. And whenever you force somebody there to be at a particular location, it's always going to be some type of pushback because it's like, I'm not doing this because
I want to do it.
It makes sense.
Because you're telling me you're going to violate me if I don't go. And whenever that type of stuff is on the table, I feel like it's always going to manipulate the numbers, right? And I don't like that part of GVI, right? And that's my only pushback from it.
But it's not really. I don't think that's the gist of it. That if you don't come to this meeting, that you're getting violated. I don't think that's not really what's happening. Again, when they come to those call-ins, they're inviting you to the call-ins. It's people that didn't show up for the call-ins, right? But the people who did come to the call-ins, and once you had a conversation and let them know what's on the table, whether you want to take this route or that route, then it's up to them to move forward. So it's like they're not saying, well, once you leave here, if you don't accept or you don't give us a call and tell us you getting a job tomorrow, we locking you up. That's not.
Well, I just think that's good for clarity, right? So I bring that up not to be argumentative, but for clarity. For sure. Right? So we can get clarity on, because it's a lot of pushback in my city about it, and all, because it's in both counties, and two of the three counties. And I get asked about it a lot, right? And I actually know the director of the GVI. Me and him actually have a great relationship in Delaware. So, but
right, we definitely need that.
It would have been great to have our director here.
I think, man, again, that lived experience piece, like dudes being in the room who understand, like, I can't let you do whatever you want to do because we understand where the system is not. What it's doing, it's not doing what it's supposed to be doing to a certain extent neither. So you need cats in the room that's like, all right, I understand this politically, historically, and how it hasn't worked. But we also don't want our young men and women just out here doing, because that's not safe for nobody. Like, no black folk don't want to be unsafe neither. You know what I'm saying? So we need to be real brokers in the room. Like, this is going to get negotiated. This is going to get debated. This is in a real way. You know what I mean? And I think that's where, when you said not being argumentative, I didn't even feel it. I don't think he felt it. It's like that clarity thing is very important. It's important. It's very important because credibility is what we dealing with out here. You know what I mean? It's just on that level. Credibility is what we dealing with out here. So I appreciate, again, it was perfect timing to get a little bit of insight from another state with a lot of the same issues. You know what I'm saying? Dealing with the same things, man. So it definitely was a blessing that you came through. I want to know why you do what you do. You know what I'm saying? We got like 10 minutes. I got 2 more questions. Why you do what you do? You know what I'm saying? What's your resource? And you already gave us the resources, so I could just go, why y'all do what y'all do?
Again, this wasn't anything that I ever planned on doing. This wasn't my career path, right? But I think something I was meant to do. And then again, once I had the opportunity to work with individuals coming home and help individuals, help their families, and I was even able to help a family, right? House being shot up, intimidated because they did, one of the kids did something they had no business doing. House being shot up, right? Nowhere to go. They was able to give us a call. We was able to get this individuals, get this family, move the family from that situation, right? put them in hotels. So we find them a safe living space and move them. Like, that's gratifying at the end of the day. That's really gratifying. Right now with homicides right now, and this is still way too many. One is too many homicides, right? But right now, year to date, we have 41 homicides, right? 34% decrease from last year.
Please tell them.
It's a decrease. So it's not a situation or a problem that we got ourselves in overnight. So please don't think this is going to happen overnight, that tomorrow morning we got OVP out here, we got CCIP working. Tomorrow is no more homicides, it's over. But we are trending in the right direction. Right. So I think that does it for me. Knowing that we're doing the right thing, knowing we're helping people that want to be helped, right? Moving people in the right direction, saving lives at the end of the day. That's really important to me, because my life was saved. You know what I mean? Not in the, when someone had a gun on me. It wasn't that. Someone saved my life and helped me to help my family with mentorship, right? With being a proper example and a proper role model. So I want to do that same thing. I want to get back to the people, to my community that I kind of like did some things I had no business doing. And I don't like to talk about it a lot, because to me it's embarrassing that I even had that mindset at that time, because I'm a different person now.
Right.
So that's what does it for me, man. I want to be a perfect example for my children, man. I want my children to look at me in a different light, right? Because, growing up and going to grandma's house, you hear certain stories. Well, that shit, back when, I don't want to glorify those stories, and I don't want them to take that example. I want them to look at me now, who I am now, what I'm doing now, and how I'm trying to help. So that what makes me do what I want to do, man. Helping the person and trying to be a better person for myself and my family. Being a better example.
And I know for me, it's really based off my lived experience. Once again, I do think once you have that lived experience, it is your duty to give back. It is your duty to help out. And then also with me being on both sides of the coin, receiving services and also, giving the services based on what I do in the city and my past experience, I want to be the liaison between, the community and the city. Because I believe the city, we have so many resources in different areas and different aspects, but people either don't know about those resources. Those resources may not be as accessible to people, or it's just not marketed in a way where people feel,
you can go
grateful,
get that.
to have those resources. So I want to be that liaison. Like, okay, what resource do we have? How can we market it into the community in a way they'd be like, you know what, this resource will be beneficial to me. I want to utilize this. Or how can we make sure it's accessible? How can we break some of those barriers where people can feel safe using those resources? Because I know a lot of times people don't trust us, especially if we say like, okay, if I tell people I'm a city worker, I get either two responses. Either people, be like, oh, you're a city worker, great. Or they be like, yeah, I don't mess with you. Like, I don't mess with you.
You're a part of the system.
Yeah.
But again, it goes back to what we were saying earlier. Like, we need you to be in the room. We need you to, because you seeing it from a lot of different sides that people don't see. Even folks that look like us be having tunnel vision. No, it goes this way, and you like, no, this thing go about 4 or 5 ways. And if I wasn't here, you would be shitting on a lot of people, even unintended. Like, it'll be unintended to a certain extent. Some people don't care, but a lot of people is unintended because they only got that one thing that they know. Like, this is it. Nah, that's not. And your lived experience tell a more broad story that we need in the room.
Yeah.
Well, I know.
And tell them who you are too, man. Because you ain't telling who you are. You ain't give them none of your, you know what I mean? Tell them who you are professionally, the whole nine.
I'm Tally Nichols. I am the systems navigator for Delaware Center for Justice. And what I do in the state currently is I help people get second chances. So I lead Delaware Center for Justice when it comes to second chances. So what that means is when people commit crimes, right, and they come home from prison, and once they come home, they complete their probations, and then we start looking at the expungement process. What that look like for you to get a real clean second chance? I walk people through the expungement process, and I also help people get what they call pardons, the state pardons, right? So we walk them through that process to say, okay, look, not only are we gonna give you a second chance, we're gonna get you get pardoned, and then after you get pardoned, we're gonna get that expunged off your record. So now when you pull it over, because what I say is, it's not even about now, like, and this recently happened to me within the last 18 months, they record profile, right? Because I'm a violent offender. If you just run my tag or something, they be, nah, pull that over, right? Because they're hoping that I'm who I once was, right? But there ain't no weapon in this car, like, right? It ain't none of that, right? I'm just dropping my nephew off. But get out the car, let us pat you down, because all of it, because they record profile. And we want, and sometimes, right, the record profile, everybody's not always clean. So now you done turn my record into, something else. Now I get out the car, now you say, yo, I assaulted you, right? Because I got out the car, or I resisted arrest. You pulled me over, I asked you, hey, why you pull me over? And now that turned into a resisting arrest. So we want to help people like get their records clear and get second chances. And that's what I do all day, right? And I come from that space of going to door, helping people with resources. Before I was the system navigator, I was a community well-being ambassador for Network Connect. And what we did was kind of like what you said, like people get scared when they see people for the state. So we had an organization that I was a part of, two sisters, two Black women started it in Delaware, and they put ambassadors on the streets to provide the same resources that the state was offering, right? So when a person didn't want to go to a state employer going to the state, oh, you come right to me. And I say, oh, don't worry about that. I'll get you signed up for all of that, walk you through the whole process. And you never had to go in them office. Like I was providing the resources for you right there and being able to bring them to your doorstep. Housing, which is just a major crisis in everywhere right now, right? Because people don't want to Section 8, the state wants, so it's like, though that's a problem everywhere, nationwide housing right now. But we were able to get people in the housing. We were able to help people with general assistance. We were help people with employment. Now I was like, I had a whole community center, right? So I was, at the same time I was the ambassador, I was also the sports director of an after school program. So I would not only deal with the children, I would deal with the families, right? And offer the families resources as I'm mentoring the kids, right? So, and then, when schools got shut down, I was sitting there every day during the COVID when they was trying to teach over the camera. And that was my most time where I started respecting teachers. Just sidebar, like, because they was a handful to try to get them in front of the teachers and learn the curriculum. But that's my background. So, I'm Tylee Nichols. You can find me at tnichols@dcjustice.org and also at DCJ Second Chances on Instagram.
Yo, this was so dope. Everything tied in perfectly because, again, we started off talking about pardons and we're going to end talking about pardons.
Right.
We have 2 pardon events coming up. March 6th, 5901 Market Street, Eddie's house. That's our office down there. We're going to have pardon information. We're going to be able to help people with applications. We're going to have expungement information and commutation information. And then on March 13th at the Free Library, we doing another Pardon Me screening, a documentary made by my brother Shujin Moore. It's about the economic impact of of having a criminal record and just all the different ways a pardon can help you and with it, how it serves our society to pardon people. You know what I mean? So we're going to do that from 5 to 7:30 at the Free Library, March 13th. Definitely want all y'all to come through, show up, support.
Thank you so much.
And it's a great documentary. Like, just look it up. If you don't know nothing about it, look it up, Pardon Me. And that John is doing some numbers right now. So I appreciate being part of that. He was a Mike Lee fellow with me. One more time, everybody, can y'all get your name real quick? We got to slide out of here. Just say who you are real quick so the people can know.
Yeah, so my name is Shadiqua Smith-Span.
Keith Scott.
Tylee Nichols.
Yo, this is PSA Philly Service Announcement. Takeover Tuesday, Takeover Love, support great social activism, resource and art. I am the assist, African support and strength, inspiration and success together. Shout out to Nick, shout out to Mal. That's what we doing out here. We out.